Hey there, gang. What's happening? It's Friday on the Morning Night Live, which means the weekend is basically here for some of you. And today I'm going to do a couple things that I probably don't normally do a whole lot, but well, we're gonna focus on a couple race issues. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I might actually come back to one of these articles another day and have some guests, 'cause I think it'd be a good roundtable discussion to talk about. And but I think I want to have some people that have some different takes than me, or at least different experiences. My experience as a man and a black man in America is probably a little different than most. And I would think you'd be interested to know that most black people have unique experiences in this country. And, there isn't a monolith in the community, or what we call a community, which is not necessarily even a community, But anyway, I want to go through a couple articles that I saw, or at least one article. Also there's another possible hate crime hoax. We'll see. We're going to go talk a little bit about that. And then also we're going to talk about, we're talking about race, whatever. We're going to talk a little bit about Kamala Harris and why I think she should be Joe Biden's vice presidential nominee. All that coming up on the Morning Night Live after the intro. Play the intro, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, me, PDawg Night. Marty, PDawg Night, as I'm known on the internet, whatever you want to call me. It is Friday. Friday. Thank God it's Friday. If you remember that song, you're old like me. Anyway, it's the 26th of June, 2020, Friday, of course, and you are on the Morning Night Live. And I am so glad you're here. If you like what we do during the show, sometime during the show, hit that like button and please share the stream out with anyone you know. Use the Twitter machines down there. Me right there at PDawg Night. You can retweet me. Oh, I didn't even tweet out the show this morning. I didn't. Well, somebody who will tweet out the show, and then I will retweet them today because I forgot to tweet it out. Silly me. In fact, let's check I got notifications here. Yes, my very faithful friends Cindy Rochelle and Cynical Lindsay tweeted out the show, so I'm going to just retweet them today, and I don't think I'll put it on Twitter, Minds Gab, or Parler, which all of those I'm also at PDawg Night. I just opened a Parler account, and I have one follower on Parler, and really it's kind of a backup account because a lot of people, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but several people that I follow seem to have gotten the ban hammer from Twitter, or at least have decided that it's a good idea for them to open a Parler account. So I opened one too. So now I'm on Twitter, Minds Gab, and Parler. I don't think am I on any others? I don't even know. I don't open any. I have a Pinterest, and I never open it. I think I have a Tumblr account. I have a Reddit account, and I've never been on. I don't even think I've been on those. I think I went on Reddit one time. And that's about it. So anyway, how are we doing today, gang? By the way, it is also Funky Friday. Oh, I hear an intro coming on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's a funky beat. I'm going to turn that up because I kind of like it. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. All right. So anyway, let's say good morning to everybody before we get started, like I usually do. In the chat first today is my first viewer ever from the Morning Night Live. That would be Mr. Johnny Hellcat, who gets the bell. And the bell even worked. Good job, PDawg. You got it right down today. Also, good morning to Cynical Lindsay, who also seems to be happy that it's Friday. Also, good morning, Chi-Town J, E. Michael, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Mike Savage, Blarg, Grillin' Pirate Pete, Duck Dog, Advocatus Dabbly, the Devil's Advocate, CNN Sucks, which is redundant. Good morning to Amy in Connecticut. Let's see. Sean D.W. Mad Max. That was the person. I wasn't hang at Mad Max, but the person. Also, good morning, Gamer Valine. No Room for Squares. Renovacio. Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, BG. I'm still going to work on that Staying Alive sound just for you because that is in my head now every time I see your name. Also, good morning to John Smith, Sapphire Dragon, and anyone else who happens to be lurking. We got people rolling in. We almost got 30 people here already, so that's a good thing. I've been averaging probably 50 to 60 people in the chat, but I'd love to see that get up to 100 or 200 or 500 or whatever someday. But the only way that happens is if you share the streams, because until I get to that 1,000 mark, YouTube doesn't even acknowledge me. So I don't even think that if this even gets recommended. Good morning to Maniac Man. All mixed up? You mean all shook up? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Oh, yeah. No, not all shook up. All mixed up. Hello, Tyler F. also. And anyone else who happens to be lurking out there. All right, let's get it started. I need to turn on my headphones so I can hear myself talk, though. So there we go. Turn that down a little bit. I hope the music's not too loud, but it's Funky Friday. So, oh, Kessler, I see you here too. I did not mean to skip you. Okay. All right, so a couple days ago, a couple more thank yous real quick. Thank you, Chi-Town J, for retweeting my retweet of the tweet that somebody tweeted. I don't know which one you retweeted, but it was somebody's. And please share the show. Please we're going to try to get to that 1,000 before the end of July. So I got a month to go. I'm going to have some guests over the next 30 days too. Just FYI, we're going to bring in some people just to chat about some things that the events of the day. Okay, so I'll let you know when those people are coming on. It'll be kind of random. I was going to do them only on Fridays, but I have some people who can't be here on Fridays, and so we'll figure that out and get people, because I've wanted. Well, there's a couple guys I've wanted on here that I know can't do this on Fridays. I might have to do a special Saturday stream because one of them works while I am here. Oh, actually, the music could be turned up a hair. Okay, well, we'll get on that. By the way, good morning, Keeverdam, too. All right, let's see. Well, the music can be turned up to hair. Well, let's see if I can even accomplish that, because this is so touchy. Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll do it here. Let's try this. That should be that's a hair right there. Oh, then it went silent. Oh, there it is again. Okay. I'm going to leave it like that. Oh, did I say? Yes, I did say. I did say hi to Gamer Valine, didn't I? Yes, I did. Aunt Jemima. Yes, this is my real hair. This is just seeing Aunt Jemima there. I was thinking of something that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I am so disappointed in this whole Aunt Jemima thing and the, Uncle Ben's rice and even Mrs. Butterworth, which, the funny thing about Mrs. Butterworth isn't even a black character. Mrs. Butterworth's just a grandma. okay, that they made the shape of the bottle of, and that was, just the old grandma selling syrup, and now they're even trying to get rid of Mrs. Butterworth because she looks black because the bottle's brown, but she's not. She's just an old gray hair woman. Now, Aunt Jemima was a black woman. The woman who was the model for the original Aunt Jemima was one of the first millionaires in the country. I just think that's just terrible that they take away that history. And even they updated Aunt Jemima several years ago to make her look like a modern black woman. Is it okay to have an Aunt Jemima? What is going on with these companies? Anyway, let's get into the actual topic of the day. Now, this is, for some of you, this may be boring, but it's interesting to me just because I kind of fit in the category that this is talking about. So Jason Whitlock, who's a sports writer and sports pundit, wrote an interesting article and he put it out on Outkick. Okay. And so I wanted to go through this article because I am in this category. It's about, well, let's just get into it. Okay. The article is Mixed Messages on Race Increasing Polarization. Now, the reason I found this interesting is Jason Whitlock talks about how some of the activists, or the people who come out and do this, a lot of this activism, are either mixed raced or grew up in families that, grew up in white families or white neighborhoods. And that describes me. Now, if you don't know my background, first of all, I was adopted when I was 4 years old by a black family, American descendants of slaves. Okay. In fact, in my adopted family, my father's grandfather was born in slavery. He was 7 years old in 1865 when the Civil War was over, and ended up he was taken by a Union colonel north, and it was eventually adopted and lived in Iowa. It had an 80-acre farm in Iowa, and then his youngest daughter is my dad's mother. Now, the other part of this, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. In fact, I was one of 4 kids in my elementary school who was black. And at least when I first moved there, when we first started going to school. And one of the other people that was black in my elementary school was my sister. And the other 2 were 2 girls who lived up the street who also had the same last name. So everyone in the school, the only 4 black kids in the school, everyone thought we were all brothers and sisters. They thought we were all related, which is kind of funny because my friend Glenda was in my grade, so they thought maybe we were twins, even though we didn't really look much like each other, although similar skin tones and whatnot. So that's interesting. And then in my late 30s, early 40s, I discovered that my birth mother and I met my birth mother, birth father. That's a whole nother story that some of you already know. My birth father is from Nigeria. He's, African from Nigeria. And my mother is almost 100% Irish. All 4 of her grandparents were immigrated from Ireland. So I'm also mixed race. Every time I see articles about mixed race things, my ears perk up or my eyes light up, and I just find it interesting, different takes people have on mixed race people. So I'm not sure. Are they selling them in stores? What are they selling? Okay, Kessler, I'm not sure what you're kidding about. Just kidding. What? Not black enough? Haha. Oh yeah. No, I know you're just kidding, Kessler. It's all good. I am. Whoa! There we go. Okay, we have our first super chat of the day, and I'm having a hard time reading this name. Wilma Fingerdo? What does that say? Wilma Fingerdo. That's an interesting name. Wilma Fitzgerald. I don't know. Okay. Thank you, Wilma Fitzgerald, for the 223. And the message is, I hope I pronounced that right. That's how you wrote it. Okay. Wilma Fitzgerald. Is it disco date? No, it's funk. It's Funky Fridays, Lindsay. It's Funky Friday. That would be funk, but funk and disco have some common elements. So there you go. She was 100% Irish. That means she was 100% racist. That's what we're being told we are. Well, except the only problem is, well, I mean, possibly because, all white people are racist. But hi, small man. Hello, Mr. Scott. But except for one problem. My mom, who I grew up with, and I have my mother. That's how I distinguish when I'm talking about my mom, who I grew up with, and my mother, who bore me, and my dad is the man I grew up with, and my father is the man in Nigeria. My mother is, and I love all of them. They're great people. I've met them. I met my birth parents in the early 2000s. My mother is about as far left politically as you can get. I mean, she was one of she's like Bernie 2016 Green Party, way out there left. But regardless, we get along, and she does. We just can never talk about politics because that just doesn't work. But she's and all my aunts and uncles, all her brothers and sisters are total Democrats, and total left-wing Democrats, they're AOC Democrats, that far out there left. They just really are. In fact, one of my cousins, my cousin, who spent some time in Chaz. She lives out in Seattle. She works for Microsoft, or she did work for Microsoft. I think she still works for Microsoft, but she spent some time in Chaz. That's how out there they are. But I love them to death, even though we don't agree politically. But anyway, so this article really caught my eye, and also a couple of the my Hope Tep friends, one of my Hope Tep friends got me onto this article. So, mixed messages on race increasing polarization. And this is by Jason Whitlock, who is the sports writer. Before I get to the beat of the column, let me offer a bit of context. No one who knows me would argue I have a problem with interracial dating, marriage, or procreation. I am not a hypocrite. But I don't think it's a coincidence that many of the highest profile and irresponsible celebrity racial justice warriors are mixed race, half white and half black. Now, that's an interesting phrase there. Irresponsible celebrity racial justice warriors. Anyway, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, white dad, black mom, just joined former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick, black dad, white mom, white adopted family. Former Empire star Jussie Smollett, white dad, black mom. Grey's Anatomy star Jesse Williams, black dad, white mom. And Oklahoma State running back Chuba Hubbard, black dad, white mom, as a fiery, outspoken leader on racial justice. Hello, D.I. Freighter, by the way. And James Crow. Good morning. According to the United States Census information, I found for 2019, 2.7% of our population is mixed race, and less than 1% of our population is half black, half white. Now that's an interesting data point, because I know that when I fill out the census, I don't know that it asks you it does ask if you're mixed race, but it doesn't ask what. So I'm not sure how he came up with that data point, but that maybe they do. I just don't recall it. And if it did, I probably didn't fill it out that way. I may have filled it out wrong. Who knows? The black point of view represented in the mainstream media is greatly over-indexing with the mixed race perspective. Now that's an interesting. It's just. I had never thought of this, but but then again, but the Black Lives Matter organization, not small letter Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter, the organization, is also over-indexing with black LGBTQ people too. The three founders all are black lesbian Marxists. So, and I don't think any of them are mixed race, but I just that's an aside. He says, I have no interest in diminishing the viewpoint of mixed race people classified as black, which I classify myself as black, even though I'm mixed race and grew up in the suburbs. Anyway, but that worldview is oftentimes inconsistent with those of us not from a mixed heritage. That's also it. Now for me, let's put it this way. So my parents, we moved out of the black neighborhood in 1969 when I was 5 years old. And so we basically moved to these suburbs. Now, interesting, my parents actually went through a situation where they actually went through the redlining thing. Okay, they would go to visit houses to buy, because they're, my parents were both teachers. They both had master's degrees. They're going out and look for houses, and they'd go to an open house, just on a weekend, and nobody would talk to them, like in the houses they were looking, because they weren't looking in the traditionally black area. They were looking, farther out in the outskirts of Omaha at the time, and people wouldn't even talk to them. And in fact, I have a whole article. Maybe I'll do that article one of these days. But so what they did, my parents, there was this unincorporated area that had not been developed yet, literally right on the edge of the city limits in this small section. Now, part of it that was surrounded by city limits. It was unincorporated. It wasn't officially part of the city. And so my parents and a couple other families who were also looking to move out, farther out, and not necessarily in, not the black neighborhood, but just a different neighborhood, decided, well, we're going to develop this area ourselves. So they got with a developer, and they actually built their own neighborhood, literally on the edge of the city limits. Now it's been annexed long time since then, but it was like one of the first mixed race neighborhoods, like predominantly mixed race neighborhoods. That's what it came out to be, and then eventually it was annexed by the city. But that's how I ended up going to basically a school of mostly. I basically lived around white people all my life. So anyway, that's just another side that's interesting. Anyway, let me go back into this article. Stop doing tangents. Now, and here's what I'm saying. It says, growing up mixed race can be difficult and confusing in America. A mixed race child oftentimes faces awkwardness, scrutiny, and bigotry from black and white family members, friends, and strangers. Many feel they are caught in the middle of a culture war not of their creation. You know what's interesting? Now, not because I didn't know I was mixed race when I was a kid. I was in a black family. But even though we lived in a neighborhood that was out near the suburbs, so to speak, and mostly mixed race, and most of my friends growing up were white, because that's all the other kids that were around, other than a few kids in my neighborhood that weren't my same age that eventually. But I still went to a church that was all black back down where we lived before. I also had a black piano teacher. Our veterinarian was black. My dentist was black. Our friends at the church who ran the mortuary are black. I was also involved in like a black youth group called Jack and Jill. But I still lived out in the white area, and so it's interesting when he says that, caught in the middle of facing awkwardness, scrutiny from black and white people. Like I would get, because I hung around friends. And I was only 4 or 5 years old when we moved. And so when kids started moving to our neighborhood, well, most of them were white. So I basically, my language patterns, everything were like the kids I was around all the time. Plus my grandmother was an English teacher. So I never talked slang. I never talked in black colloquialisms. Because my grandmother just didn't allow that. And I was too young to know. So whenever I would be at church and the kids around church, I would always get that, oh, you talk like a white boy, you're a Tom. They would say Uncle Tom, they just say Tom and all that shit. And then also, now when I got through grade school, like that was in kindergarten when I was one of the only four, like kindergarten, first grade. But then by fifth, sixth grade, there were a few other black kids, not too many, but there were a few. But then during my seventh grade year, when I went to, in where I'm from, seventh, eighth, and ninth grade was junior high. I get to seventh grade, and that's when Omaha just began doing busing around 1977, where they were trying to integrate the schools. And so I went to a junior high that was near the closest junior high, but there was also a bunch of kids, black kids from North Omaha, that were bused to our school. And I had a hard time with that too, because most of my friends were white people. Black kids understand, well, why all your friends white? And you talk like a white kid, blah, 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 blah. And so that was a tough time growing up for me, because it was not so much as an identity, but just like, why y'all giving me shit for who I'm friends with? Who gives a shit? But that's kind of how it was. Hey, by the way, good morning, Midnight and XL. Good morning, MC.
Hammer time.
And Zombie Teddy, what's happening? And Anna Lynn, how you doing? Nice to see you. Oh, Kate in the Skates here too. So if I haven't said hi to you, just keep chatting in the chat and I'll get it to you. But anyway, so I understand this paragraph will continue. Because America categorizes them as black, regardless of their upbringing, I believe many mixed race people have feelings of rejection and betrayal toward generic white America. I don't, but let's keep going. Let me clarify. Imagine being half black, half white, and raised by the white side of your family. That wasn't my experience exactly, but I'm immersed in white culture, which is the next sentence. You're immersed in white culture and sensibilities, but society assigns you a black classification, and you're treated as the second coming of Nelson Mandela. You love your family. You know your family loves you, but society at large rejects the white half of you. I didn't have that part because I didn't even know I was half until my late 30s, so that didn't apply to me. That's going to create some bitterness. I don't have that. That's going to create a heightened level of sensitivity around race that's difficult to manage and interpret in your teens. I did have that a little bit. And in fact, so 7th and 8th grade, in Omaha, this whole busing thing really changed how they did the schools during that time. So you went to 7th and 8th grade at this junior high, and then we had this 9th grade center that all the 9th graders went to these two 9th grade centers in Omaha. So they bussed everyone to the 9th grade centers, and we all interacted and played sports together. And they kind of split the schools into 3 parts, so they'd have it for sports teams and stuff. So I went to this 9th grade center. That was very, very diverse. And then I went to a high school that was very diverse. I didn't go to the closest high school. You had a choice to go to schools. I went to a school that was in downtown Omaha that was at the time it was thought of as the college prep of the high schools that you could choose, and so that's where I went. And we had a diverse population, although still most of my friends are white. I have a couple of very good black friends and a lot of very good white friends, and that's just how it was, just because of my personality and the things I grew up liking, being in the neighborhood I grew up in. So anyway, that's interesting. Young people of all ethnicities struggle with their identities. American cultural norms make these struggle even more acute for mixed race individuals. You shouldn't be surprised that Bubba, Cap, Jussie, Chuba, Jesse, and others look for public opportunities to defiantly. I see. I have a real quick. Hold on. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat, with the $4.99, saying, "Well, this mixed race dude needs to get his taxes done. I'll be lurking until I get done." Well, thank you very much, Johnny Hellcat. You know how much I appreciate you always being very supportive of the show, and hope you get your taxes done. I gotta do that too. I should probably get on that. I should have just done them in April, but I hate, because I know that I'm gonna have to pay in, so I always stall. Because That's how I work my stuff out. Anyway, so we shouldn't be surprised that Bubba, Cap, Jussie, Chuba, Jesse, and others look for public opportunities to defiantly affirm their black identity by lashing out at the white society they might justifiably feel rejected them. Interesting enough, I've never felt rejected by anybody. But that's just me, and I realize that's just me. Everyone has a unique experience. Cap took a knee. Bubba leaned into a noose on a garage pole rope. Chuba called out his head coach over a t-shirt. Jussie claimed white bandits tried to lynch him in Chicago. With his white mom seated in the audience, Jesse excoriated white America over police brutality at the BET Awards. All of these acts were celebrated over social media, and these men received a level of affirmation and respect from the black community that surely momentarily assuaged painful feelings of white rejection. Yes, I know I mangled that word. I've never known how to pronounce it right. That's why I call much of what we've seen as it relates to social justice over the past decade the civil feelings movement. There's no fight for rights. It's a group of millennials publicly sorting out their feelings and looking for approval of white society. Ugh. Now, some of my friends who read this were saying, they were like this. And I can, in some ways, I do see that. Except for the part interesting. I've never felt like I've never worried about white rejection. I've always been comfortable in my own skin. I've always been, I can move in and out of circles. Like, especially good examples in high school. I was one of those guys that everybody knew and everybody, had some affiliation with. I could hang out with all the jocks because I played football and basketball. I could hang out with the band people because I played saxophone. I could hang out with theater people because I also did a couple plays while I was in high school. I could walk through. There was like our high school was like this square building with a big courtyard in the middle, so you had to walk all the way around the building in winter because the courtyard was open, and they ended up covering the courtyard my senior year. But one side of the building, there was this, they called it, I don't remember even what they called it. They just called it, it was on the 3 side. They had 4 sides, and on the 3 side, there's a place where all the burnouts hung out. And I even knew all the burnouts, like the people who would be emo now, wearing black and the black eyeliner. I even knew all those people because I was friends with this one person who was a drummer in a band who was also in band, and so I was really close friends with that guy, and he hung out with all the burnouts. So he introduced me to all the burnout friends. I knew everybody, so I didn't have that problem, and obviously and because it was a pretty diverse school, I went in white circles, black circles, burnout circles, band circles, sports circles, smart kid circles, because I was a smart kid too. I was on I was taking honors classes and AP classes, so I kind of just I was very fortunate that I was able to do that, because not everyone's able to do that. Some people aren't able to get out of one group, and so I was very, very fortunate. And luckily that I grew up with that personality. So I don't know. But he follows this up. There's no fight for rights. It's a group of millennials publicly sorting out their feelings and looking for the approval of white society. White love is the cure for all that ails them. Now that's an interesting sentence, because I was watching my friends who do a show on Thursday nights this morning, and they made an interesting observation that when you talk about Black history in America, or when Black people talk about Black history in America, it's not really about Black history, but it's actually about white histories. I'm doing my parentheses here. And how that affected Black history. So when when you're talking about the Emancipation Proclamation, okay, well, yeah, it's Black history because there was the freeing of the slaves, but it was the white people who did it. Or if you talk about Juneteenth, recently. Well, Juneteenth is when the white people came and told the slaves they were free. It's not really about Black history. And then he was saying, this is Hotep Jesus, who's just brilliant sometimes. He was saying, I'd much rather hear about Black history. I'd rather hear about, the Black scientist or the Black, or what Frederick Douglass was saying, or, something else. So anyway, I found that interesting. He says, let me repeat, no sane person can argue that he wants to repeat that no sane person can argue that I have a problem with interracial dating, marriage, or procreation. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm honest. Interracial relationships are complicated. They are. And I've been married to a Ma 27 years now. Ma is middle-aged white woman. Just that's an acronym. And we've been married 27 years. I'm in an interracial relationship. Although it hasn't been as complicated for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lucky. Interracial relationships are complicated. I have experience. When you're in one, particularly when it's Black and white, you spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about race, thinking about how you and the relationship are perceived by families, friends, and outsiders. Okay, that's probably a little bit accurate, particularly when you're just out and about. Now, where I live, it's not as, in Minnesota, it's not as uncommon as you'd think. But I know that when we've been traveling, you sometimes think about that. Like when we were in New Orleans, you thought about it, but then really people were pretty cool down there. So it seemed fine, but it's always in the back of your mind. You don't have to think about that usually, if you're not in an interracial relationship. Without provocation or invitation, family, friends, and outsiders would tell you their raw thoughts on the relationship. Now, I've never had that issue. Although one time, my mom asked me this question because I dated all over the spectrum, but when you're living around white people all the time, you tend to date people who are around, not people who are not. And so I did often have dated white girls because that's who was around. Although I did also dated Black girls. I dated an Asian girl. I dated any Hispanic. I have dated in college. I dated a Hispanic girl. But anyway, but my mom would always go. She'd ask. She wasn't like, she wasn't annoyed to it. She was just curious. How, do you ever date any Black girls? I said, yes, I do. And she said, well, because I've seen a lot of the white girls you've dated. And is there a reason for that? And I said, well, because this is where we live. And that's pretty much all there is around here. So I just date who I meet, or go out with who I meet, or whatever. And she's never asked me that question again. And it wasn't. It's funny because it wasn't like accusatory or anything. She was just. It's just. I don't know. It was a question she came up with. But anyway, let's continue. Today, some of the most strident media voices on race fit one of two categories or both. One, they're mixed race. Two, they're in a mixed race relationship. I'm not sure either are the best voices for Black America. CNN's Van Jones was married to a white woman. Republican firebrand Candace Owens is married to a white man. CNN's Don Lemon is married to a white man. I could go on and rattle off the names of prominent sports personalities using polarizing race talk and other Black stereotypes as tools to mask decisions in their personal lives. I'll save it for another column. But when Martin Luther King Jr. was in college, he fell in love with a co-ed, Betty Moitz. Dr. King and his family recognized that the message he carried for Black people and the world wouldn't be heard as clearly if he were married to a white woman. All decisions, good and bad, have consequences. As a kid, I wanted to be a quarterback like James Harris of the Los Angeles Rams. I made the decision to eat like Nate Newton of the Dallas Cowboys. This is my complaint regarding Candace Owens. There's substance to a lot of her points. I believe she's well-intentioned, but when she made a video solely focused on denigrating George Floyd and his criminal record, I wondered whether she would do that if her husband was black. I wondered about her day-to-day social circle. Who's in it? Who raises a hand in objection? I thought of my cousin, Anton Butler, who was tasered to death by sheriffs in the rain. He had a felony rap sheet. The toxicology report said he had cocaine in his system. He didn't deserve to die. I wouldn't want anyone to make a 10-minute video recounting his worst moments. Race is complicated, confusing, and a dangerous subject. We've turned leadership of the conversation over to athletes, celebrity, and the conflicted. No wonder we can't find common ground. So, anyway, I found this fascinating. And is Lemon married to Milo? No, Lemon is not married to Milo. But it's funny because, it's funny. Don Lemon makes a lot of blanket statements about white people, and then you just have to laugh in the back of your head because he's married to a white guy. So, and whatever, it doesn't matter. Seems to be being married to white people doesn't stop leftists being complete anti-white racists. That's Radavasio. That's just it. It's funny the blanket statements some make, and now, well, and it's also the interesting point on Candace Owens too, because we talked about this the other day, how I we'll go back to that I'm not a fan of Candace Owens. I'm not necessarily 100% a detractor either, just FYI, but it is interesting that she's trying to do this movement called Blexit, right? Getting blacks to leave the Democratic Party and maybe come over and be Republicans and vote for Trump, right? And we were talking about this the other day where, she spends so much time demonizing black people. Remember the vegan talk? Kind of like how a new vegan, so excited about veganism, but so quick to just demonize anyone who's not a vegan. So the reason that one of the reasons I don't have any interest in becoming a vegan is because too many vegans treat me like I'm an asshole for not being a vegan, and that's just a little bit off-putting, and that's part of Candace Owens' problem. There are a lot of people who find her very off-putting as far as, the rhetoric she chooses. Her tirades on George Floyd, which may have been completely and 100% accurate, still were off-putting because the man died in such a way that none of his past mattered at all. Same with Armand Arbery, who, I know maybe he wasn't a jogger, okay? Maybe he wasn't just a jogger. But in the end, should Armand Arbery be dead, okay? First shot, accident. Second or third shot, I don't know. That's kind of, now you killed him, right? Anyway. There are a lot of posers on YouTube. Not you though, PDawg. Well, I try not to be a poser. I just tell it like it is, and here's the thing. I probably could be, if I really was concerned about jumping up my subscriber count or my Twitter followers and things like that, I could do it very easily. And I've seen it happen over and over. We've had a couple of people do experiments on this. All I would have to do is put on a MAGA hat and say something pro-Trump, because that seems to be a formula that a lot of people use. Now, I'm not saying that they all use it insincerely. And first of all, Trump's not my brand. I'm my brand. That's one of the reasons I don't do it, and I'm going to stay that way. Even though I may end up supporting Trump in this next election, he's not my brand. And when Trump's gone, I will still have my brand. I'm not going to build myself on that. But the posers, there are posers out there who, or even some people who've done it in a joking way. They did an experiment and just did one tweet where they said something pro-Trump, and they're obviously black in their picture, and they put on a MAGA hat, and he got like 600 followers in a week. Just from that, just from doing that, because Trump people are, well, the pro-Trump people, believe it or not, now some people are always trying to say that Trump people are racist and all that shit. Nah, Trump people are just very accepting of other Trump people, and a lot of people who are Trump people, like their brand is Trump, want more minorities to be part of it. So they get excited because there's not a lot, and most people talk trash about Trump. I'm not going to talk trash about Trump. I still think Trump is a jackass. But if you've been around long enough, that's a feature, not a bug. I think you need someone who's willing to be a jackass to other people and say, "Hey, fuck you. I'm going to do it my way, and we're going to," and so on and so forth. So, but it's just, but I'm not willing to change my brand, just to get likes and follows and followers and subscribers. I'm just going to do it organically as much as I can. And in fact, I don't even right now, I could probably, if I just told my friends, like my personal friends, more about what I do on these things, I could probably jump my subscriber count. I'd probably lose some friends too, because I don't keep track like of people I knew in high school and stuff. A lot of them I see on Facebook and I go, "Ooh, you're one of those. You're going to be," if I even hint that I don't hate the president, I might lose some friends. So I don't really talk politics with my friends either. But, good morning, Post Ghost. I did not see you jump into the room. Welcome. So anyway, that's a fascinating article by Jason Whitlock, and I kind of want to do a roundtable discussion on it a little bit with some other either mixed race people or just other black people that I follow on Twitter or people that I know online, because I'd love to hear their takes. Now, when I did this, pulled this article up, let's see, hey man, let me find it real quick. I want to go through some of the kind of the Twitter reactions to this article. Agent Hotep's the one who found it for me and said, "Whit, you continue to crush it, on point." He really liked this article. Nikki Johnson, who's she's a black conservative woman who I've followed for a long time. Solid argument. I'd also add that people who support these activists feel validated or justified in their beliefs because the mixed race guy or woman in an interracial relationship can't possibly be wrong. That's an interesting take too. And I although I don't know that everyone who, for example, the people who are big time Candace Owens fans, I don't know if they see her as being in a mixed race relationship. Even though she is, and a lot of people know that. Problem with Candace is Candace can't be a spokesman for the black community. Because, well, kind of like me, I don't try to be a spokesman for the black community because I know that my race card, that the race card that I get when you are black, you get a race card automatically. Maybe you didn't know this, but you get a race card. Well, I have one, but I have to use it extremely sparingly because I have so many things that in my life that they keep lowering my credit limit on that race card, so I can't use it. I pretty much have to use it just for like trying to get, applying for scholarships or things like that. But I can't really pull that out too often because, you grew up in white neighborhood. You're married to a white woman. Your kids look white. Da, 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 da. You talk white. You don't even talk black. Which talk in black. I talk very much like my grandmother. my grandmother, who was an English teacher and also taught at she taught at a university. She taught English at a university in the summer, and then during the regular school year, she taught in middle schools and high schools. And proper English was very important in my household, and my mother was proper English, and my father grew up in a small town where, he spoke proper English and all that stuff. So anyway, if race was a car, you apparently get a noose too. Yes, I probably would. Except we have an electric garage door opener. Come on, NASCAR, put some electric garage door openers in there. Okay, more on this. Let's see. Agent Hotep says, I'll go further with, the only way they identify with their blackness is the struggle. Only when they experience racism or bigotry, they feel black. Any other time, they're going home to non-black families, significant others, etc. Their whole world is non-black. Now me growing up, that's not true. Because like I said, my parents still went to the same church, even though they moved out towards the suburbs. My parents still had the same circle of friends from church. And in fact, in our neighborhood, there were nine. The neighborhood started out 9 black families, a Mexican family, and like 5 white families. And then it grew into about 40, 50 houses in our neighborhood. But it was a mixed race neighborhood. So even our neighborhood, another principal from another school lived in our neighborhood, a doctor, lived in our neighborhood, a black doctor. And so I was still around black people, but my friends, all the kids my age, I was around were white. My best friend next door, he and his 3 brothers and a sister. And then the kid up the street, Brian, who I played tennis with all the time. The kids in the neighborhood, I played baseball, football, basketball. We were always outside playing sports. Almost all of them were white, except for like 2 other kids. One was older, and so the other kids that were black in our neighborhood that eventually moved in were older kids. So we didn't really hang out with them. I hang out with the kids my age, and all the kids my age were white kids until we got to middle school or junior high. Let's see another one here. A couple paragraphs in. And you are spot on. I'm mixed, dad black, mom white. I had an identity crisis and would overcompensate standing for blackness and wanting to denounce my white side. It wasn't until I found my true identity in Christ that I got to see from it. Interesting take. And I think my son went through it a little bit too. In college, my son, because he's half black, he applied for a scholarship and got it. And at a school that had a scholarship. Now, my son got a scholarship anyway, but they increased the scholarship because of his dad. But part of that scholarship, you had to, they had like these monthly meetings they went to and would talk about things and issues and things like that. And he felt a little bit out of place. And I've always been meaning to talk to him about it. I told my wife about it, but that's something I probably should sit and talk with him about. I shouldn't bring that up here anyway. And then let's see. Cracker says, I've always wondered why, if being born black in America is such a plight, why virtually all, never met one who didn't, biracial kids call themselves black. It makes no sense unless, it can't be. Now, the reason for that, I just got to tell you, is that's not because they chose that. Most biracial kids, you can tell they're black. Oh, well, here, this guy says because white people won't let them have the distinction and black people will. Why would they need to have to pick? A biracial kid can join the Black Panthers, but not the KKK. Jason, I know you didn't mention the great Sean King. Yeah, Sean King's a completely different person that you gotta go. So anyway, I found that article fascinating as someone who a lot of the sentiments in the article seem to apply. And so there you go. Let's move on Well, I took up a lot of time for that. There is a new, what's a good word for this? Ambiguous racial incident that you may hear about soon. Although it didn't blow up as much. Although it did because they wrote about it in The Hill, and it's one of their, if you're subscribed to The Hill on Twitter, they promote their stories constantly. And so they show up on your Twitter feed, 4 or 5 times a day. Everything they write, they put the article out there 4 or 5 times. Well, we have another one, folks. I'm pretty sure this is, and we'll get into it. But before I do, let me do my shill for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please, if you haven't done so already and you like what we do, please hit the like button. Oh my gosh, there's 53 people here, 27 likes. Well, let's bump that like up there to at least close to 50. And, or dislike, Duck Dog. That's just you. Be right back. Okay, we'll see you in a minute, Katie. But yeah, hit the like button. That helps the algorithm a little bit, even though until I get 1,000 people, it's not going to matter a whole lot. But once I do, that'll just pop things right out there, and they might actually recommend my channel for somebody. Also, share the stream out, hit the share arrow, or follow me on Twitter. Retweet the retweet that I tweeted of the tweet thing that we did this morning. And if you really want to support the show, you can do that with donations and or doing super chats during the show. This show is sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show. You'll become a permanent part of this episode. That link is in the chat, in the description down below, or you can just go to PDawg Night. It's still down there. PDawgNight.live. It's right there. Okay. All right. New hate crime. Madison, Wisconsin, during the mayhem in Madison over the weekend. This happened, in theory. Black 18-year-old attacked with lighter fluid, racial slurs in downtown Madison. Madison police are investigating an incident as a potential hate crime. The Madison Police Department is investigating an assault on an 18-year-old black woman as a potential hate crime after she was burned on the face and neck early Wednesday morning. Althea Bernstein told Madison 365 that someone yelled the N-word at her and threw lighter fluid and a lighter through her open car window as she was driving in the State Street area in downtown Madison. According to the police incident report recorded Thursday morning, Bernstein saw 4 white men approach her car that night. The report says that one of them used a spray bottle to deploy a liquid on her face and neck, and then threw a flaming lighter at her, causing the liquid to ignite. Bernstein reportedly drove forward, then patted out the flames and drove home, where her mother encouraged her to go to the hospital. Hospital staff believe the liquid is lighter fluid. She was treated for burns and will need to make follow-up visits for additional medical care. Police investigating are looking at surveillance images to see if any of the assault was captured on camera. Michael Johnson, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, has been asked by the Bernstein family to share their official statement. He spoke with Bernstein via video chat today and said she has been treated for a second and third degree burns. Now, just keep that in mind real quick. Second and third degree burns. Are you familiar with the burn rating system, so to speak? So first degree burns, redness, skin, whatever. Second degree burns is very serious. You need some serious ointments and things like that, right? And third degree burns, I mean, literally, that is burning into the flesh in your body through the skin, right? Second, she's treating for, yep, there is a good question, Renovaccio. Renovaccio asks, is there a GoFundMe set up already? Yes, there is. But we'll get to that. Third degree burns have boils and charred. I mean, literally burned through the skin, flesh. Third-degree burns are some serious shit. You would be in the hospital if you had third-degree burns, right? I can't even describe it, he said. Like, what they did to her, and to see those scars on her face and what she's going to have to go through to heal from, that's what her mom and dad want to focus on. Johnson said he hopes the perpetrators are apprehended. It's unfortunate the times we're living in and the things that people are doing to each other. In a statement, Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway condemned the crime and said she has spoken with Bernstein's family to express her condolences. While we are still learning more about the details, current information suggests this may have been a premeditated crime targeted toward people of color, which makes the incident even more disturbing, the statement said. Now, let's talk about, well, no, and better yet, I'm going to go through a thread, and that's probably, we're not going to get to anything else today. This is going to be the end of my show, because I'm not going to even do Twitter trends today, because this one's great. This one's awesome. So when I was looking this up, here's the Hill article, because there is an article on the Hill also, and it's very similar, but there's a couple things that aren't in that Madison 365 article. So the report adds that the victim, who has been identified in local reports, we know, said four white men use a spray bottle to deploy a liquid on her face and neck. That's a quote too. She said deploy a liquid on her face and neck, and then threw a flaming lighter at her, causing the liquid to ignite. Now, a flaming lighter. That's interesting. Now, if it was a Zippo, like a Zippo lighter where it would stay lit, yeah, sure, but you know, Zippos aren't cheap, and most people aren't just going to throw their Zippo away. But most lighters, when you let go of the little button thingy, it is no longer lit, right? So they sprayed her with lighter fluid and then threw a flaming lighter at her. Bernstein told the local outlet that the alleged attackers yelled the N-word really loud in Madison, Wisconsin. If just by the way, the Madison might be one of the most, well, it's a very liberal college town. It's fun. Look, here's the thing. Been black all my life, and I've lived in the upper Midwest all my life. I haven't heard anyone say that word out loud probably since 4th grade. Okay, that'd be 1974 for those of you who are counting. 4th grade, yeah. Well, yes, duck dog, close. But you got to learn how to spell. Since 4th grade. Now, are there people just running around? And it's so funny because every time I hear one of these stories, it's always somebody in some northern liberal city saying it. And it's always a bunch of white guys. Because, like, even the hoax at my son's college, it was like, of course, they spelled it wrong. Now, most people who are going to use that word probably know how to spell it right, except for duck dog, of course. But I'm just like, and then also, let's see, there was something else in this part, though. Okay, here we go. This is the part that wasn't in the other. Burn pain is something that I can't even really describe. I don't know how to describe it. It was horrible, Bernstein said. She told Mass 365 that medical professionals pretty much had to scrub the skin off, which was extremely painful. Burn pain is something I can't even describe. I don't know how, this remember, 2nd and 3rd degree burns, she said. But wait, but it was lighter fluid that she said they lit it on fire, and she drove forward a little bit and patted it out. Do you know how long you have to be burning to get second and third degree burns? But she said she drove forward and patted out. But I'm not done yet. She said, at first I didn't believe it happened. I grew up in Madison on the east side, and my dad would take me to the farmer's market every week on those same streets. I just felt so weird to have these really happy memories there. And then now to have this memory that sort of ruined all of my childhood memories. Now remember what was going on that night. This is the night that there was this big, I'll just call it a riot. I don't know, demonstration / riot, where they tore down the statues on both sides of the Capitol building, and they set some shit on fire and all this other stuff. And this is the same night, and she's saying on her way home that 4 white boys were calling her N-word and setting her on fire in her car. But there's more. Let's see. Now, okay, so here, Mayor's... Oh, Jesus. This is the mayor. I spoke this morning with the victim family, expressing my deep sympathies for the harm this incident has caused, my wishes for her healing, and my commitment to all who can bring justice. Bernstein works as an EMT, Madison 365 supporter. She's studying to be a paramedic and a firefighter. Good for her. Madison has been the site of escalating protests this week amid nationwide demonstrations over the police killing of George Floyd. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers activated the National Guard on Wednesday after a group of demonstrators toppled 2 statues outside the state capitol, threw a Molotov cocktail into a government building, and more. State Senator Tim Carpenter, Democrat, said he was assaulted by protesters, kicked in the head Tuesday night as he filmed demonstrators outside the state capitol. Now, interesting thread on Twitter regarding this incident, because there are more details in this thread also, and we're going to go through it from the Thread Reader app. All right, let's break down the, quote, black 18-year-old girl attacked with lighter fluid racial slurs in downtown Madison. Here's the police report. Incident date, 6/24/2020, the same night as the riot or incidents in Madison, 1 a.m. in the morning, 300 block of State Street. The MPD is investigating assault on an 18-year-old biracial woman as a hate crime after she was burned with lighter fluid early Wednesday morning. The victim believes she was driving on West Gorham Street, when she stopped for a red light at State Street. Her driver's side window was down, and she heard somebody yell out a racial epithet. Nigger. She looked and saw 4 men, all white. Remember, what's the protest going on down there right now? You think there's somebody down there gonna yell out that word amongst all those protesters that are out? Just FYI. She says, she says one used a spray bottle to deploy a liquid on her face and neck and then threw a flaming lighter at her, causing the liquid to ignite. I wonder if they found the lighter. I'm curious. You can't throw a Zippo and have it stay lit. Yeah, well, I mean, you can kind of. If you just toss it gently, it might stay lit, but I'm just saying. And that's the only kind of lighter that would stay lit if you did that. Possibly. So causing the liquid to ignite, she drove forward and patted out the flames and eventually drove home. Her mother encouraged her to go to the hospital. 2nd and 3rd degree burns, she says. Her mother had to encourage her to go to the hospital? Are you kidding me? She drove forward and patted out the flames. Remember, it's lighter fluid. Have you ever had lighter fluid on you and it's lit? It doesn't burn real hot right away. And if you're patting it out, how would you get 2nd and 3rd degree burns? But I'm just going to keep going here. So the incident supposedly took place. This is the thread. The incident supposedly took place, per her statement, around the 300 block of State Street. She claims she was here at 0100 at 1 o'clock in the morning, Wisconsin time on June 24th. This is where she says she was, this area right here on the map. Now, a significant news development happened at the same time on June 23rd and 24th. The Hague statue was ripped down. That's the Hans Christian Hague was ripped down at 10:55 p.m. Wisconsin time on June 23rd. Protesters just tore down the Hague statue. Tim Carpenter, a state senator in Wisconsin, was beaten around 12:36 a.m. What time did this happen to her? 1 a.m.? 12:36 a.m. The state senator got beat up. I believe this is State Senator Tim Carpenter. Minutes earlier, he told us protesters assaulted him. Then he collapsed walking towards the Capitol. We called paramedics. Ambulance is here now. Let's see. Okay, no, that says 10:36 p.m. Oh, that's, okay, this person's in California. So yeah, 12:36 a.m. Prior to Tim Carpenter's beating, there was rioters on State Street at around 11:44. We know it's not east of the Capitol building because that's King Street. We also know this building was damaged earlier, so showing the damage in these two. Also, the Forward statue, which is Lady Forward, a statue in Madison dedicated to women's rights, they tore that one down too, was ripped down sometime around 10:45 p.m. Then at 12:40 a.m., there was an arson attack on the city-county building, which hosts the 9/11 call center and a number of other departments. The BATFE has a $5,000 reward for tips leading to the arrest of the arsonist. 20 minutes later, Althea Bernstein claims that 4 white men called her the N-word and attacked her in her car at the intersection of Gorham and State Street. There's the police report. Put together a map that gives a good idea of where the rioting was going on. So this is where Tim Carpenter, the state senator, was beaten. This is the attack on the city county building. Hague statue here, Forward statue here. Forward statue where they ended up by the time they get done dragging it. And this is where the lighter fluid attack allegedly occurred. She claims that after she was attacked, she drove herself to the UW hospital, which was a bit of a drive. Oh, there's going to be an update to that one because that's not exactly what happened. She claims that they had to remove her skin to treat it, which will go with that. Typically, a first-degree burn isn't that bad, and Silvadene is applied, which is a huge relief. I've had second-degree burns, and it was bad for me, so Silvadene was a big help. And that's what she said. They had pretty much to scrub my skin off. She claimed she was high as a kite, but again, I've had a second-degree burn, and I didn't get anything prescribed except Silvadene. She submitted a picture, and some things stick out. Her hair is fine, and she still has eyebrows and eyelashes. If her face were on fire, they would have been singed. On a GoFundMe that was set up for her, the claim that she got second and third degree burns. And yet, if you actually look at second and third degree burns, she has some of the best looking second and degree burns ever. I just threw it ever. What she appears to have is some kind of road rash or eczema, but not second or third degree burn. A third degree burn, your skin is charred black. Go Google road rash injury, and it's very similar to what she has. For example, this is a road rash injury. There's the injuries on her face. No hair singed either. You're right. No eyebrows singed. That's weird. The burn right there, but her eyelashes are fine. I thought she drove forward and patted it out. It is very likely she was involved in the riots and got caught up in the moment and probably fell on her face and neck despite her statement that she wasn't involved. She knew it was happening and drove in the middle of rioting on State Street, which State Street is the same street where the Forward statue was ripped down from the west corner of Capitol Hill and dragged down State Street. I'm not going to be surprised when the Madison Police Department figures out that this crime likely never happened, just like there was 2 dudes in a MAGA hat beating Jesse Smollett screaming, "This is MAGA country." Now, there's one other detail here too. So She claims that after she was attacked, she drove herself to UW hospital. No, she didn't. And I don't know if I still have the thread open here. No, she did not drive to the Madison hospital. Oh, that's Kamala Harris thread. That's the wrong thread. Hang on. No, she said she drove home first. Where is this thread? Here, let's see if I can find it here. Let's just open this. Caitlin AZ. Oh, she also found that there is a surveillance camera on the corner. She says it happened. Okay, so let's get back into this thread because there's some new developments that she's added to this thread. Something she missed. She claims she was in shock, which she was able to drive her brother's, but she was able to drive to her brother's in Middleton, Wisconsin, from where she was at. Then back to UW emergency. Remember she said that her mother encouraged her to go to the hospital? She drove to her from here to here, Middleton, and then back to the UW hospital. Also, here's the trip. You can clearly see UW hospital in the middle of the road trip. She took a 15-minute drive to her brother's, chatted with her mother, called the hospital, which they told her to get an ambulance. Also, secondary burns are horribly painful, and not even shock can block that pain. I thought I could tough it out, but I gave up after an hour and went to the ER to get Silverdine applied. Now she turns around and goes to the hospital and gets drugged up. Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. More of this. Then she said she'll need plastic surgery to repair the damage. If you actually look at her face, she's fine and it's nothing significant. I didn't need surgery for mine and I healed up. Eventually the dark scarring from the burn goes away after about 6 months. But yeah, here it is. Bernstein said she was able to drive to her brother's and back home without significant pain because she was in shock, something she sees in other people regularly. Second degree burn, she said. And then she says, oh, I've had patients in shock, and I know what shock is based on the textbooks. Oh, she's an expert. And so it's so incapacitating, you don't even realize what's going on. My brain still got me home, and my brain got me to call my mom. I just remember my face was bleeding. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then finally, they do have cameras at that site. The burns aren't why she needs plastic surgery. Ouch! Shots fired, BG. Holy shit, that's cold, brother. Cold. That's just cold. You cold, heartless person. But yeah, those are not second. If those are burns, might be a first degree burn. But a secondary burn is really bad. A third degree burn, like I said, it's charred skin. And does it look like they removed skin? I don't know. It's just such an oddity to me. Anyway. All right. What do I have time for? Oh, thank you, Cryptic, for the top super chat of the day. Says, I don't usually make puns about dividing numbers, but I will make one if I have to. Very nice, Cryptic. Very well done. Well done. Okay. Thank you, Cryptic. It smells a bit of Jussie Smollett like a slurry tank. Yeah. If there are no skin grafts done, there was no third degree burn. Find me a taste of third degree burn with no skin grafts, especially on the face. Yeah, I mean, if it was a third degree burn, you would have already had, they've already probably have you in some kind of, you would be, if it was third degree burns, see, there's a huge chance of infection on that type of a burn. You'd be in the hospital still. I'm sorry, you would still be in the hospital, at least overnight. I don't know. But anyway, she is getting a ton of sympathy on Twitter, as you may as you may suspect. Did I even bookmark the? Yes, I did. I bookmarked. Let's just go through some of the comments on the Hill tweet and article. Oh my God, this poor girl. I hope these 4 men are caught and charged with a hate crime. This stuff has to stop. You realize that over the last 4 or 5 years, only 1 in 3 reported hate crimes has turned out to be real. 2/3 have turned out to be either hoaxes or mistakes. 2/3 of all reported hate crimes over the last couple of years have been, and you know what? That hurts the people reporting a real crime. But it's the age of, it's grifting season. That's what Uncle Hotep says. It's grifting season. So, and especially if while the racial tension in the country is hot, you might as well strike while the iron is hot. So it's grifting season. Yes, let's do it. And then the next, someone replied to that person, I'm sure the whole thing is made up. So what kind of person do you have to be to do such a thing? Any leads, witnesses? You have to be an imaginary person. Oh, the other part, I don't know where, it's not in either of these articles. Maybe they took it out of this article because I thought it was in this one. But she also described the 4 white men as the kind of white frat boy types. Again, summer in Madison, one of the most liberal cities in America, one of the most liberal colleges in America. Yes, there's 4 white men out there just running around carrying lighter fluid and a lighter on a night where the people are toppling statues and trying to set buildings on fire. But these 4 white guys are out there yelling N-word on State Street in Madison. Where they probably get, if that was true, they probably would have already had their ass beat. I'm just saying. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they took out the thing about it looked like 4 just white frat boy types. They forgot about that part. Let's see, scrolling down in the comments on this though. Sounds like a Jussie Smollett gone wrong. But this person's saying, your parents must be proud. And yours must cry themselves to sleep at night, ashamed at the abominable job they did parenting. Okay, that's enough of that. 4 classic Wisconsin frat boys was the quote. Are you suggesting she lit herself on fire? No, I'm suggesting she's lying her ass off. And that those are not 3rd-degree burns on her face. Now this, let's see. That's a setup or something. Bet you she conveniently had a giant McDonald's drink ready to put it out, and there were no witnesses and no cameras, but the MSM is desperate for these type of stories, so they'll run with it, and she'll be a GoFundMe millionaire. Well, the GoFundMe account is set up. And in fact, I wonder if it's on, did the Hill put a link to her GoFundMe account? That would be hilarious. Let's see here. Let's see. Because they quoted her GoFundMe, didn't they? Okay, the mayor mentioned it. Okay, no, they did not link her GoFundMe. I know that she has a GoFundMe, though. Holy hell. The savagery that this woman faced being set on fire is reflective of the extreme brutality that blacks are facing in America today. I can't even begin to imagine the cumulative effects and the fear, disgust, and trauma of witnessing one horrific act after another. Yeah. Because every real act, every fake act, all of them get amplified in the media. And you notice how it's interesting how all of these things, because it was pretty quiet when it came to these types of, race incidents over the last 3 years, but all of a sudden, it's an election year. And they're just bing, 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 bing. Because Corona was, kind of, it's having some spikes now, but it was kind of winding down, or at least it wasn't the biggest thing in the news. And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, all these racial incidents. What news aren't we talking about? Oh, Michael Flynn. Yeah, that's certainly on page 4 now, right? Because the Michael Flynn case isn't going as well as it possibly could. Oh, Peter Strzok's notes. We're not talking about Peter Strzok's notes where he mentions that the former vice president, brought up the Logan Act, and the president said, well, let's make sure we get the right people on this because, don't tell anybody I said that. And, yeah. Sad society today, thanks to Donald enablers. Really, bitch? Really? Oh, yeah, because none of those other issues that the Black Lives Matter people talk about were happening in 2014 and 2015. Because, oh, no, wait, I forgot. Donald Trump was president back then, too. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't. Yeah, it's all about Donald, right? All these, it's the era of the fake hate crime. I'll tell you that. Or the mistaken hate crime in the case of, Bubba Wallace, or, But yeah, it's the Donald enablers. I bet they were all wearing MAGA t-shirts too. And were carrying their red MAGA hats in their back right pocket of their khaki shorts. I bet they were. The 4 classic frat boys. Yeah. Just some guy's gonna run out and set somebody on fire. That's common. Oh, here's one. I'm done with social media. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I'm a burn survivor from the service. Too bad I wasn't there to throw it back. Throw what back? How do you throw lighter fluid back? That's how they. Don't worry about now. If you have a plan, then I won't stop you. Go for it. Okay, I don't know what that means. What's our world coming to? It's frightening. It's very sad for that beautiful young woman. The perpetrators are really disgusting. I hope you heal well, sweet, young, lovely person. Second and third degree burns. Don't think so. But we'll see what the Madison police come up with. And the security cameras right there on that corner, they're all over there. So I guess we'll find out soon. Now, if this actually happened, fuck those guys, right? Throw them in jail. But I got a feeling, that no one will be going to jail because they won't even need bail because they don't exist. This hoax is a fail. I got a feeling that in Madison town there's no one who tried to have some fire fun, and this girl's life is gonna be done when they find out it's fake. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's really time for me to go. Oh no, Mr. Scott sent me something from Omaha. Omaha Live features Gangland Omaha and the notorious 144th Street Gang. What? Hang on a second. Let me just take a gander at this. Oh, it's 4 minutes long. Okay, Omaha Live, the early bird gets the worm. Mr. Scott, are you here somewhere? Is this safe for work? Is this some? Because I'll take 4. Well, I'll check this out later. We'll talk about that on my next show. Anyway, just a real quick rundown of the top Twitter trends. I'm not going to get into them real deep, but since I do that every day, I want to know what people are talking about. And you know what I want people are talking about. You want to know what people are talking about. And you want to know what people are going to be making videos about and talking about for the rest of the day. On the Explore tab, it's Eurovision, the movie. I don't know if you're familiar with Eurovision. Oh, wait, well, it's a heart. I don't know. If Eurovision movie. Why are they doing a movie about Eurovision? So they do. Eurovision is a performing competition between countries. Oh, Johnny Hellcat. Johnny Hellcat with the 550 and the now new top donor of the day. Top donation of the day with the 550. Cairo Alexander solved the case. It was the Duke lacrosse team. Yeah! Very well done, Cairo Alexander. Johnny Hellcat says you are an ace detective. Fantastic. Oh, the black man dude that blew up a homeless man. You just see the teeth running and bang. Oh, yeah. There's, the media is very, very selective on what stories they promote. But let's just check the trending tab. Okay, so Huey, rapper Huey has died at age 32. I am not familiar with Huey, but rest in peace, young man. Young compared to me. Friday thoughts, Friday feeling, Friday motivation. Don't care. Ask the mayor. Oh, good Lord. Is this for de Blasio? Ask the mayor, why do our students lack textbooks while the NYPD has submarine drones? Really? Oh my God. Will you cut the NYPD budget in half and refund NYC communities? If you cut them, no, I don't think they're going to do that. Will you fund community land trusts and real affordable housing? Will you fund after school summer youth programs? I think they do all that in New York. I don't know. Boy, I'll tell you what. Bill de Blasio puts out this Ask the Mayor hashtag, and New Yorkers are ruthless. I'm just telling you, it's one of the funniest hashtags to read, just the questions he gets, and he ain't answering half the questions he gets. So Ask the Mayor's trending. Number 5, Blackpink, the K-pop group, apparently they have new music out, and
your life makes me sad.
Don't care. Take your dog to work day. Never heard of that. The Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, whatever, is trending because the Trump administration is urging the Supreme Court to invalidate the Affordable Care Act. Of course, you know that the you're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act during a pandemic. Well, the way it's been implemented, it really, as far as I think, is probably unconstitutional, but I don't know. Just whatever. NYPD with their $6 billion budget, though, have sick toys and intelligence org, I must say. I don't ever understand the drone submarines and stuff. They, of course, they do get those cool surplus anti-landmine vehicles, but anyway. Island, something having to do with magic, black, trending. Baby Huey, that's the guy who died. Glasgow, Scotland is trending. One person has died and a police officer has been stabbed while dealing with an incident in Glasgow. That's sad. I have a friend from Glasgow. Michael Vick is trending. Why is Mike Vick trending? Oh, because it's Take Your Dog to Work Day. Oh, no. Yes, I did say that out loud. It's Michael Vick's birthday. Happy birthday to Michael Vick. Is 40 years old today. This is a case where he's shredding the Washington Redskins for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns on Monday Night Football, which is what I don't want to see because I am a bit of a Washington Redskins fan. But anyway, I thought Michael Vick was trending because it was Take Your Dog to Work Day. Bad PDawg. Okay. Oberfeld, something is trending. June 26th is a big day for equal rights and fair recognition. Oh, today, the day which Oberfeld versus Hodges was decided, marriage equality. So they're celebrating that today. Happy SCOTUS LGBTQ Equality Day. 5 years since Oberfeld, 7 years since Windsor, and 17 years since Lawrence. Would have been nifty if Bostock had come out June 26th. Okay, whatever. But yeah, congratulations to the people who want to be married. I personally don't think the government should be in marriage anyway, so more power to them. If you want to get married, but it shouldn't be a government thing. The Gap is trending because Kanye West has struck a 10-year deal to sell his Yeezy line through the Gap, probably worth many millions and millions of dollars. Good for you, Kanye West. Greg Abbott is trending because Texas closes bars and orders restaurants to reduce occupancy. There's a bit of a spike in Texas. Derek Jeter is trending because happy birthday, 46 years old today, Derek Jeter, one of my favorite baseball players in recent history. I think my favorite of all time are Willie Mays, even though I never got this. I'm not a Willie Mays era, but just watching highlights of Willie Mays, awesome. I was a big Pete Rose fan. Randy Johnson, I just thought he was one of the, when Randy Johnson threw a high inside fastball at you, you knew that maybe you should just not mess with Randy Johnson. Always dug that. Anyway, nothing looks. Oh, Hannity's trending. Why? Oh, Peggy Noonan's trending because she had a column in the Wall Street Journal critical of President Trump, but she's went from like 3 to 26 since I started the show. Hannity's trending. Who knows why? Because the hashtag activists are probably what? Hannity did Trump no favors last night. Donald Trump must win this election to keep the nation from falling to Marxist cliff. Whoever is prepping and advising him needs to step it up and get in touch with the base. Bombshell, former U.S. attorney, says Flynn case manipulated at highest levels of the Obama administration. Yeah. I don't know. Apparently Hannity interviewed the president last night, so that's why he's trending. All right, let's go on. Anything else? Almost 9,000. Last one, K-State, Kansas State is trending because recent tweets from a K-State student downplaying the Black Lives Matter effort and the tragic and senseless death of George Floyd are disgusting and totally inappropriate and not reflective of who we are as a university or our athletic department. Okay, what did he say? Congratulations, George Floyd, on being drug-free for an entire month. Okay, he made a very tasteless joke. Oh, god damn. Oh, that is not cool, but he said it. I'm pretty sure Jaden McNeil, whoever this person is going to get dragged. Someone named Josh Youngblood, he goes to K-State? Nah, some got to go change right now. Y'all need to do something. I'm not coming back until he's kicked out. Okay. Youngblood apparently is a football player at K-State. And then this, let's see. I refuse to play for a program that tolerates ignorance such as this. I don't even know who Jaden McNeil is. He's a nobody. Oops, I messed that up. He's a student at K-State. That was a bad joke. That's tasteless as fuck. But, God. Holy shit. Somebody named Greg Woodsing. I know it's late, but if you're keeping track at home, 2 K-State football players have refused to play for the program until this guy is expelled from the university. Wow. In the spring of 2019, K-State SGA voted to give this person's student group, TPUSA at K-State, $3,000 to bring in white nationalist speakers from a group supported by Koch Industries. White nationalist speakers. I'd like to know exactly which white nationalist speakers they brought. Apparently this is a TPUSA guy at Kansas State. Why is no action being taken? Now, this is from, what time is this? 3:48 p.m. yesterday. School's not even in session. I'm pretty sure. Oh my God. Like this happened at other universities, get consequences, expulsion. Literally something would be done about it. Expel him. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet. It hasn't even been 12. Has it been 12 hours? It's been 12 hours. It hasn't been 24 hours yet. But okay, so I guess K-State's going to be canceled. I don't like making fun of people for their appearance, but this is the super racist K-State kid. And I mean, come on. I wonder if his Twitter account is even still up. I'm aware of the Twitter posting by a K-State student, the lack of basic decency and care for how this post would impact others, especially our black students, faculty, and staff, already emotionally hurting from recent incidents of anti-black violence is shameful and appalling. Was there anti-black violence at K-State? I mean, come on. Okay, here's the dean of students. I'm aware of the Twitter posting. I'm aware of the Twitter posting by a K-State student, the lack of basic decency and care for how this post would impact others, especially our black students, faculty, and staff, already emotionally hurting from the recent incident. Okay, it's shameful and appalling. It is a blatant opposition to the values that we hold close to and aspire as a university, such as diversity, inclusion, civility, and respect. K-State condemns the post in the strongest terms. It does not reflect who we are, as confirmed by the outrage expressed by so many campus community members. Bigotry, prejudice, racism have no places here. For those impacted by this incident, please know there are supportive resources available, including the Office of Student Life and Counseling Services. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord. So people are, it was a very tasteless joke. As a proud black graduate of K-State, I challenge you to do more here. Heaven forbid you should opt to take his money in lieu of doing the right thing and showing zero tolerance for racists. We've known American First students and its leadership are poisonous president at K-State. At this point, it's clear that KSU refused to take concrete action because they are more afraid of getting sued by white supremacists than being morally absent on the issue of racism. This is not going to end well for that student, K-State, anybody. Well, that is the show for today. I got a feeling we're going to be hearing about K-State the entire day. Meanwhile, the saga of Michael Flynn will be relegated to a back burner. But you know, that was pretty messed up joke. Too soon? Yes, sir, too soon. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today at the Morning Night Live. If you like what you see, like what I've done, and enjoyed the experience in the chat, on the show, and all the corny jokes that everyone tells, please hit that like button on your way out the door, and share this stream. If you're watching after the fact, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and click that little bell. But most importantly, throw an elbow at that like button. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll be back Monday for sure. Same time, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT. Possibility I might do a impromptu stream tomorrow, or sometime this weekend if I can hook up an interview. We'll see what happens there. But for sure, I'll be back Monday. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, especially Johnny Hellcat, Cryptic, and Duck Dog, who is incognito in the super chats, and everyone who participated in the chat. Lurkers, I love you too. Everyone have a fantastic day. My name is PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.